Hello, my name is Don Mueller, and I'm a sales engineer with Jamf. Thank you for joining me with my session today on making your organization iPad more trade show friendly. So, to start, what do I mean by making it trade show friendly? Would you rather have customers see an iPad out of the box at a trade show? What about dealing with Apple ID password issues? Or would you rather prefer an iPad in kiosk mode ready for your attendees to sign in at the booth? Or an iPad customized and ready for use at a trade show? I don't know about you, but I prefer making the iPad trade show friendly over an iPad out of the box or dealing with Apple ID headaches. This approach can be simple and a differentiator in going the extra mile for first impressions for your current and future customers. So, here are the pieces of the puzzle where these are essential to make this happen. Apple Business Manager, establishing pre-stage within Jamf Pro, smart groups, and then I also use configuration profiles to enforce the iPad setup. So, with Jamf Pro, Apple Business Manager, one of Apple's free deployment programs, will save you time and eliminate headaches. It will assist with zero touch provisioning with Jamf Pro to help reduce your time and the end user's time setting up the device. It also acts as a corporate Apple ID for purchasing apps and books, and then deploy the apps without the device needing to have an assigned Apple ID signed in. So as you can see, Apple Business Manager will bring you a tremendous benefit for zero touch management with Jamf Pro. To begin, I want to emphasize that we are going to be working within the Device tab for this session. You can create pre-stage enrollment payload to configure settings to apply to devices during the enrollment. Pre-assign the devices to the pre-stage payload and then leverage smart groups to automate your workflow. You can create smart groups based on one or more inventory attributes and are updated dynamically, which you'll see the benefit in this exercise. So for this presentation, I've actually set the speed to go 2 times faster. So you will see the standard choose language, country, and then join your Wi-Fi. After joining the Wi-Fi, the device communicates with the Apple server to see if this belongs to any organization. The remote management screen will appear, then the device will be configured based on the rules that are being enforced from Jamf Pro. You'll then notice that as apps are actually installing, they are actually starting to disappear. This is because of the configuration profile that is actually taking effect along with the app's layout. The wallpaper will change eventually, and it has been automated without any user interaction needed to make this change locally on the device. And as you can see, everything I described, we just saw here. So to begin, you'll need to create a new pre-stage enrollment profile. Be sure to be distinct with the naming that can actually help you with the smart group. So in this case, I named it Tradeshow, and then you will choose all the steps to skip during the automated device enrollment. Next, we will then go to the Scope tab, and then I assign the appropriate devices that I know which iPads will actually be used for the trade shows. We will now create our smart groups. So we're going to actually add a new smart group by clicking New. Please be sure to give it a unique name that will actually help with the scoping. So in this case, I actually named my smart group Pre-Stage Trade Show iPad, which will help me with the configuration profile when I need it to scope to this smart group. Next, we will update the Criteria tab and then add New. And if you haven't searched for this before, you can actually click on Show Advanced Criteria, and then you can actually, on a Mac, click Command F or to search for the word pre-stage. And then we will actually choose the enrollment method pre-stage for this smart group, as you can see here. The operator is then set to is, and then for the value, instead of actually typing the name, I actually like to click on the three dots, as you can see that I circled, as it will actually then populate the accurate inventory information that is within my Jamf Pro, and also less room for error on my end. And as you can see, I have my Tradeshow pre-stage, and I will choose this. So before I actually save this, if you recall how that wallpaper change actually happened, this is the smart group where I actually will enable within the automated management tab. So you can choose to upload an image of your choice. Once you upload that image, you should see an image, and then you can go ahead and save your smart group. I also created a second smart group specific for when one app downloads. I chose the criteria to be app title. The operator I set to has. I chose the three dots for my value to select the exact app name that has already been listed within my Jamf Pro. So you will actually get your apps from Apple Business Manager, and then you will go into Jamf Pro and click on mobile device apps to set up your deployment. So we'll click on New, and then as you add the app, make sure that you note the bundle identifier on a Word document or notes, whatever your choice would be. This will actually help you reference back as you create your configuration profile for the home layout and app restrictions. And then, of course, make sure that we change this to install automatically unless you intentionally plan to make the app available in self-service. For the scope, we're going to target this to the pre-stage trade show smart group that we created earlier. And then under the manage distribution, let's make sure that we actually have the assigned content purchase in volume checked. And then once you do this, you'll go ahead and click save. You will then repeat all these steps for all the apps that you want to be downloaded to the iPad. So now we're going to create two different configuration profiles. So we're going to go ahead and click on New. And then in the general payload, we're going to give it a name. Again, be specific. So in this case, I'm actually naming this app restriction. So that way I know that this payload is specific to the apps that only I will allow on the iPad. You'll then click on the restriction payload and you'll actually choose apps. So to the right of this payload, I actually scrolled down until I found app usage. I chose only allow some apps allowed, as you can see here. And then as for the name of the apps, remember that bundle identifier that I recommended that you make note of earlier? You can now copy and paste to get the exact app that you want to allow on your iPad. We cannot remove settings or the phone app. However, this can be moved to the last page when setting up your home layout configuration profile. Once you complete the app restriction payload, you will now need to scope to the pre-stage trade show smart group. So once this is completed, you will then save this configuration profile. So now we will create our last configuration profile. In the general payload, be sure to specify the naming around app home screen layout. The home screen layout payload is about halfway down. You will see a few sections to note where you see the plus new to the right. That means adding the application to the specific area. When you see the plus icon, this will actually create new pages, and then the X means that you want to remove the page. So as you can see here, I added the Wandera app to my dock layout. But before I can add another one, I need to actually click Save in order to be able to add another one. And once I do that, I can then go ahead and click the Add button to add more to the dock or the first page or whatever your preference may be. Once you complete the layout of your preferences, you'll now want to scope this to a smart group that is created with the specific app installed, like I mentioned earlier. And then you'll save the configuration profile. So recapping everything that we did, we established a pre-stage specific for iPad trade shows. And then we assigned the iPad that we wanted in scope with the power of using Apple Business Manager for the automated device enrollment. We then created a app restriction configuration profile specifically for the apps we allow on the iPad and scoped it to the pre-stage smart group, which we built, including the automated wallpaper change. We then created a home layout configuration profile scoped to the smart group, identifying the one specific app that when it's installed, it makes the changes to the homepage layout. And now for single app mode. So what's different with the single app setup, I actually created a kiosk pre-stage. And then for the devices that I know that are going to be used for kiosks, I assigned it to this pre-stage. I then created a smart group using that kiosk pre-stage like I showed earlier with the Tradeshow iPads. And then for the mobile app that I wanted to use for the single kiosk mode, I then scoped to the pre-stage kiosk smart group. A configuration profile with a specific title name, kiosk mode, I scoped to that smart group, and then which identified the app installed on the device. Thank you for listening.